At first glance, it's just a doll, an object meant for innocent play, perhaps once a cherished toy in someone's childhood. But the moment you lay your eyes on it in this specific scene, unease begins to settle in. Perched on the edge of a weathered brick wall, surrounded by the crumbling remains of an old cemetery, the doll sits in stark contrast to its surroundings. Its white outfit, pristine and oddly formal, feels entirely out of place amid the somber landscape of aging tombstones and cracked stone.
This one is very funny. It's from the Sydney, Ohio. At first I thought it was Australia until
I know, right?
Yeah, but it's Ohio. And this was October 4, 1980.
Yeah, it's not really that old. I mean, considering how old we are. St. Paris Antique was plagued, I tell you, by haunted furniture. This was written by Jackie Noran. St. Paris, there was a screech of furniture moving across the wooden floor, and the voice of a young woman crying out in the night for release from her bondage and for the lover who had murdered her. The scene was not acted out in a Hollywood horror movie, taught in an antique shop in St. Paris. Donald and Barbara Boldman, owners of Don's Antiques, which is housed in a white barn on State Route 235, didn't bargain for haunted furniture when they got into the antique business, but they claim to have gotten it anyway. As they say, here we are. It started several years ago when Boldman bought a handmade cupboard from a dealer in Sydney, not Australia. When hauling the cupboard home, he wrecked the truck. He wasn't hurt, Mrs. Boldman recalled. He got home and unloaded the cupboard, put it right there inside the door, she said, pointing to the front of the barn. During the next 2 weeks, the Boldmans began to notice noises they had never heard before. Kind of like when you pass 50 and you try to get up, your knees make noises you had never heard before. I was standing out in the yard with my son, Rocky, when we heard furniture being moved in the barn, and I told him, go help your father. Normal, right? Upon entering the barn, however, they discovered that nobody was in the barn and none of the furniture had been moved. Mrs. Boldman recalls, I was sawing wood one day and I heard the same thing. I didn't think much about it at the time. They began comparing experiences after Rocky and the customers started to open the barn door and heard a young woman laugh. It was then they decided they had a ghost in residence. Having no previous experience with exorcising spirits, as most of us don't, they called a friend who claimed to know about such things. A seance was held, and it was determined that the spirit was that of a young woman who had been killed by her lover sometime in the mid-1800s. The lover then built the cupboard, and the murdered woman's spirit apparently took possession of it. Mrs. Boldman explains, our friend used a silver needle suspended on a thread. We ask questions and the needle will go around in circles or back and forth to give yes or no answers. Because the commotion, right? I know. It's a boy. No, it's a boy.
They did that in the Midwest, up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
To figure out, like, eggs, if they would be roosters or hens. My grandmother used to do this. And then at baby showers, they do it. Yeah, because they didn't have ultrasound to try to figure out if the kid was a...
But you know what? It's fairly accurate.
And it is, surprisingly.
I knew a guy back in the 80s and 90s that he was an old man back then. He was probably in his early 90s, and he was a farmer. And he had this huge plot of land that had been in his family for years, and he had this stick. He called it a divining rod. And he had to find water sources underground. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, let's go back.
My grandfather was a well-wisher, and they hire him around here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. This guy was pretty cool. Had the cleanest 1984 Dodge Ram pickup I had ever seen in my life. Anyway, the cupboard moved. Let's just get down to this. The cupboard moved, okay? Because of the commotion the cupboard caused. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Because of the commotion that the cupboard caused, which frightened customers, and an accident in which Boldman fell from the roof of the barn and landed on the cupboard, a piece of furniture was moved to the garage. For a while, we could hear banging and crying in the middle of the night. Boldman said, I'd run outside with my shotgun, but I never found a soul. Well, as one does, right? The cupboard was eventually sold, and the Boldmans haven't heard from the new owner as to whether or not it's still haunted. When asked if the dealer in Sydney had any problems with the cupboard, Boldman replied, yeah, once. Came in here and he said, hi, honey, to the cupboard. Was to really a pop bottle fell over and broke. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Oh, I mean, Boldman said he had a haunted wardrobe once. It would be, I don't know, 70 or 80. He said it would be 70 or 80 degrees in here, but right by the wardrobe, it would be cold as ice. Your hands would feel numb. Boldman sold the wardrobe to the same dealer who had sold him to the cupboard. What are we, trading ghosts now? Apparently, the Sydney dealer had no qualms about buying presumably haunted furniture, but when his wife found out about it, he made him remove him. She made him remove it from the house. Get that thing out of here. Boldman said, I haven't seen him since. The Boldmans think about hauntings, that hauntings happen to other people too, but they really don't talk about it. Mr. Boldman said, I've always believed in these things. It doesn't frighten me. In fact, I should have kept the cupboard and lost money on it. Oh my gosh, right? Well, the Boldmans are happy. Okay, they don't often buy haunted furniture, but when they do, they take it in stride as just a part of their antique business. In view of their experiences, whether one chooses to believe it or not, it might be wise for collectors of antiques to pause before buying to find out just how rare that innocent-looking piece of furniture really is. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it.
It was so funny. So I looked that up. I spent some time last night on Google Maps and tried. There's like an old expired Facebook page for Don's Antiques, but they were retired back then in the 80s, so it doesn't appear to be around. And then I even went on Google Maps, driving along Route 235 to see if I could find the White Barn to see what it is, but find anything. So they're
probably gone.
Probably long gone now.
Yeah, probably broke. I never really had weird furniture. I did have an old antique radio. It was a floor model. AM radio. It was really nice. It was made out of burled maple. It was beautiful, but it would turn on by itself.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, it would just turn on. I had just married Day when I had this, as a matter of fact, and it would turn on. And I had kept it on some goofy AM radio station. The only station that radio would pick up was preaching. This is down in Florida, and it would just turn on in the middle of the night, and you hear this like preacher. So I'd get up and I'd turn it off. One night, in the middle of the night, I'm sitting there, and the radio comes on. I'm like, you know what? I'm just too tired, and I went back to sleep. I was up for a few minutes, and then I just went back to sleep. And I got up. A day was out of town. At this place, I was batching it, and I got up and I went just to go look at the radio, and I looked at the back of the radio, and it was unplugged.
And it's still turning on.
It still turned on in the middle of the night. So
oh my gosh, what did you do with it?
It wasn't soon after that radio was no longer in the apartment.
Oh wow, that's crazy!
No, I just thought of that. I don't know why. I just thought. I just remembered that.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, girls.
And we've got Brighton here to take your phone
Hi,
calls. And it was
Brighton.
just so appropriate with haunted things and weird crap going on that we hear this voice. That's why I
I
put
know.
these videos in the front, because invariably there's always some kind of problem. And that gives them time to run around and fix stuff while the video is playing. But what it was, I've got a second cell phone, and all of a sudden Brighton has it plugged into the mixer there, and
Oh,
it started playing for some reason.
I wonder
uh,
why.
yeah.
But that
It's
story,
what it was talking about too is like a medical, bunch of medical stuff.
Yeah, HIV.
yeah,
HIV. Yeah.
which is weird and not anything I would even listen to, really.
Yeah, but
So-
you know, it kind of is interesting because HIV is a blood plague. You know.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a blood plague.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know,
that's kind of. Yeah.
We had there are so many stories. That's why Al, he does the Saturday show with me. So I asked him to please read that story, but it was so funny when I'm reading it in the newspaper. It's just hilarious because it was so typically Midwest. Denise, you've probably
Right.
met these guys like your dad and grandpa. So there's this haunted cupboard in there, and the guy walks by and just goes, "Oh, hi, honey," and then grandpa pulls him back. He was just dying. And it's like, yeah, I sold it, but I shouldn't have because I lost money on it. I mean, that was like my grandpa and my dad, 100%. It was so funny. And the thing is, I was just blown away by how many haunted object doll stories there are out there.
It's not just dolls though. It's all
Yeah.
kinds of things that are haunted.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
objects in like Al's radio, that was insane that it would only play a preacher.
Right.
You have to wonder if the radio had been owned by the preacher or,
Or someone like
it was just kind of
yeah.
weird.
or someone
Hey,
who was really
we got
Hey.
3D braiding. Hey there. And before we get into the haunted stuff, just a quick update. I still am doing the experiment, the consciousness experiment.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it's been raining and stuff, so I've been doing it inside. And so I
Okay.
just kind of fall asleep to it. But what has happened? My empathy has just gone like insane. So last Thursday, all of a sudden I had sciatica that was so painful. I mean, the
Me
last time
too.
you had it too.
I was crying, screaming from the rafters for 2 freaking nights.
Okay, I don't know why we're all feeling this. So where I thought it was coming from was because it was like the last time I had sciatica was a car wreck, and it's so painful and so horrible. And so I just
I have
had
it
this
all the
like
time. I live with it.
oh, you poor thing. I don't know. Oh. And so
Permanent sciatica.
so anyway, so I called my brother on Saturday, and he was at he plays trombone and stuff in some city band up in Wisconsin, and he was supposed to go for a big bike race in the Netherlands. And I said, "Well, you still going?" And he goes, "You know what? I have had sciatica so bad that I
Wow.
can't go." And so as soon as he said that, mine
Yeah, it
disappeared.
Yes, I've had that
So
happen.
I don't know if I was, but now I'm hearing that you have it all the time, and Bove has
I do.
had it.
Right.
So why are we all having sciatica all this? I mean, and I was
always-
just like racking my
I know.
brain. What would I
Look
have
at
done?
When's your birthday?
Yeah, right. All days. Yeah, no, but I've had it since I was a kid because I had a back injury. Yeah, so for me, it's
Yeah,
always
mine.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. Maybe it was my back, because my back injuries were from car wrecks, and I was supposed
Right.
to be in a wheelchair and all this other stuff. And I thought, oh God, no, I don't
Well,
want this to start again.
Barometric pressure and the electromagnetic field around us affect your joints and bones.
Yeah, that's
My
true.
grandmother, I know that everyone laughs about this. My grandmother had 100% accuracy predicting the weather.
Same because of
with her
arthritis.
bunions. Her
Yeah, with
bunions.
arthritis. Yeah, with bunions or migraines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine, I feel every sports injury I've had since I was a teenager, and I've had so many car wrecks. They always slam me on the left side, always Dodge Ram trucks hit me. And it's weird. That's always what it is. And they hit me on the side. And so
They're determined to get you, Deborah. Don't go back in the car.
That's right.
Helen.
But I just thought maybe that's what it was. But Wolf, do you still have sciatica too? Is it gone?
I'm sitting here right now, and I can feel it trying to creep in, and I'm looking at the Tylenol bottle, and I know it's not going to help, and I'm just hoping it just doesn't come to play.
Yeah.
Do you have a heating pad?
Yeah, heating pads help. I always have one on my back.
I don't own a heating pad.
You have to get yourself one, girl. Yeah, it's a good investment. Heating pads really help.
Heating pad and a vaporizer, humidifier. Those are two.
Yeah.
Especially a heating pad if you have back problems. That's really makes a big difference. Yeah.
And then there's some exercises you can do both too. If it's, I mean, like with Denise, it's like a full-time thing that exercises aren't going to help. But like in your case, if you pulled something, I mean, that's how it worked for me. I finally got over it. But so anyway, the other thing that came through with this empathy sort of thing with the experiment going on, I got the message. Now I just kind of fall asleep to it because I've been doing it indoors. But I woke up this morning with, okay, now you've been projecting out. Now I project to the center of the earth.
Oh,
so I'm going to try that.
That's good.
There's a healing side to this. Or maybe it's the gold light or something. So I went to donate blood yesterday because they are so low on blood that they actually called Sunday morning to make sure that I would, because I've got O negative. So that's the blood that saves everybody. But I can't take, but you can't take anything but O negative. And, you know, I used to have such low blood pressure. There was one time I remember in Phoenix, they had this big alert, please, somebody with O negative come in. And my blood pressure was so low, I had to do sit-ups to get that because this baby was dying and ended up saving a baby.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So whenever you donate blood, you save 2 or 3 people's lives, you know, if you're able to do it. And so in any event, my blood pressure had started going up and stuff. And I just thought, well, that's just age or stress or whatever. And it was getting borderline hypertension. I have done nothing different. I went in there.
Pain will do that to you too. You know, that pain will make your blood.
It has been for the last couple of years. So I went to so they take your blood pressure. They give you like a free medical like overview with the blood donations out here. My blood pressure has dropped back to like what it was when I was like 28.
Wow.
I'm 64 right now.
Right.
Dropped to that. And my heart rate had dropped to only 62 beats a minute. It had been up to like which is really good. I work out and stuff, so it should be low. Right. But it had all been like going up, you know, and that's hereditary. My mother's hypertension, really bad, you know, and just about everyone I know gets it eventually. So I just thought, but that was just so strange that all of that just dropped. And I think it's been because of these meditations.
It probably is. You know, that situation, you know, I think you probably were kind of feeling your brother's pain because I've had that experience before too. I've had phantom pain that once I figured out the person who had it, all of a sudden it dissipated and disappeared.
Yeah.
I think that's probably very likely what happened in that case. Yeah.
I think so too.
Can you hardly wait to get old?
Leave him alone. Leave the poor kid alone.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
Gotta give you chills.
So anyway, nothing very universal or cat oriented with it this time, but those were some of the effects that I think happened that I don't. What do you think about this going to the center of the earth thing? That was a strange one, but I'll go for it and do it.
We'll try it. See if you get anything. You know, you might encounter some beings in the. There's been reports of tunnels, especially where you live.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Dolce situation?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
you know what comes to my mind immediately is that really recently. Plate tectonics and general upheaval like Iceland and Hawaii and
there's
there's just been an uptick in a lot of geological sorts.
Yeah,
of,
right. There has
of
been in the last couple
activity
weeks. Yeah.
of a variety of types. Yeah, I don't
Right.
know. Maybe you're being, drawn by that energy.
Well,
Well, and
maybe
maybe the physical body was healing to tell me
yes.
that when you do it from this spiritual plane, you can send healing to the earth too.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
that
good idea.
seems to be
Oh,
the
I like
theme for
that.
me that I get. They're not like prophetic. It's more like, okay, those things, microbes in the clouds are for earth healing, and that's been my thing my whole life is for
Right.
the, the environment and the earth.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
as an activist, done all kinds of things. So that might be what it is. So like you said, Helen, just, and I'll just see what there is to see there.
Yeah, I would love to hear
Drawn
what
to
happens.
it.
I'll try it too tonight and see if I can. Well, a lot of times when you do drawing down energy, that's sort of part of the thing. You should ground yourself by putting your visualizing a cord going all the way, like either a pole or roots going down deep into the earth, into the center of the earth. But that's a good idea to try to see if you can merge consciousness with the earth itself and see.
Yeah,
You might
you're
get a lot of
supposed
information. That's a good idea.
You're supposed to ground yourself, not underground yourself. Right?
Right.
But I've got that Virgo energy, so it's just sort of, it might come naturally to me, to
Oh,
do
it will
that.
definitely. You've got a grand earth trine too, don't you? I think you do. So
I
that
think
would
you
be
told me that. I don't know what it means, but it sounds cool.
It is cool. It's cool.
She's speaking Vulcan again.
So anything else before we do our crazy stories? And I'm telling you, I did 17 slides, but there are hundreds and hundreds of these. So I pulled some of
I
the
know.
more obscure, weird things.
Well,
I
it's
think we
really
should
weird.
take a poll and see how many of us have encountered.
I have a couple
That's a good
times.
idea. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if anyone in the chat has too. So have you encountered a haunted object, Helen?
Yes.
Tell
You hear
us.
about it.
A
Yeah.
haunted nightmare object. So my third daughter was born in 1988. And somebody reminded me of this the other day, and I thought, oh God, perfect story for our group. She was absolutely madly in love with Barney. And I don't know how that happened because we didn't have a television.
That's weird.
Go figure, right? Well,
That's
she also
weird.
had an invisible friend. And she also communicated with me before I knew I was pregnant. I knew I was going to have a little girl. And I knew she was going to have really beautiful eyes and a cowlick. And she did. It was just very, and beautiful eyes are like a feature of Scorpios. And she's a Scorpio. I cried. Anyway. So she was madly in love with Barney. So I had a little, just with her sisters and friends, we had a little party and we had Barney hats and Barney napkins. And I did order a Barney cake. And as luck would have it, the day that I went to pick it up at the grocery store, we heard ahead of time, Barney was coming to take pictures at the grocery store.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I have this beautiful picture of her on her third birthday sitting with Barney. I bought her a stuffed Barney. And when you pushed on his belly, he talked. So you'd push on his belly and he'd say, I love you. And a number of different really creepy things. Barney was haunted. He would turn himself on by himself. She slept in this room, as a matter of fact.
Are you sure it was Barney?
Pardon me?
Are you sure it was Barney and it wasn't your daughter?
Oh, well.
I mean, not your daughter doing it. I mean, your daughter's psychic energy doing it.
So, I mean, the whole house was crazy. Who knows? But she would be, hi, Teresa. She'd be downstairs.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Barney would be on her bed. We'd be downstairs and we'd hear upstairs, hello, I love you.
Wow.
That damn thing just talked whenever it felt like it, including when it was packed away in the attic.
But your daughter had, remember, she had a friend, right? She had an invisible friend.
Yes. And her invisible friend's name, oh, she'll kill me if she knew I was talking about this. Her invisible friend's name was Pony.
Was Pony a kid? Did she ever say anything about
She really could never, I asked her, she could never really, she wasn't forthcoming about it. Pony was
Interesting.
responsible for anything naughty that I thought
Right, of
she had
course.
done. You know,
Right.
who wrote on the wall? Pony did. It was a joke. We laugh. We still to this day, and she's in her late 30s. You know, still to this day, I'll say, "How's Pony doing?" You know?
I
Is
love
this
it.
daughter? Is this the daughter that has the psychic daughter?
No, this is
Okay.
the daughter after her.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So that begs the question: was it a brand new doll?
Yes.
It seems
Yeah.
more likely that it was yours. It was more likely that it was your daughter's connection to the doll.
It's
That
not
was
safe
yeah.
to bring anything into this environment in this house. You just never know what's going to happen.
Either that or there was some kind of spirit in your house
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
attached to her.
We have a poltergeist, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh well, then it's okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably what it was. Yeah,
I was kind of hoping it was Pony, but okay.
could be Pony. Pony might be the poltergeist that she became friends with.
That was so creepy.
That's weird. Ironically, I was just talking to someone today who told me that she got this. Well, she didn't tell me yet, but she told me that she all of a sudden smelled intensely, like really intense marijuana, and in her room, in her house, and when she told me she had just gotten this dresser, and she showed me a picture of it. I was like, this was the dresser. There's like a ghost connected to, like a hippie dude connected to her dresser. And so I'm like, get rid of the dresser. She had just gotten, it was a used dresser. And that happens a lot more than you'd think. And that wasn't negative, but it was just an attachment. Like somehow I think sometimes objects can become so interconnected with people that they kind of, it's their sort of, instead of it being a house, it's like a thing that they can kind of come back through. It's like a portal.
Mm-hmm.
We had a mirror in our house when we lived in Burbank that we got it was a used, when my husband was really into antiques, which I don't really like that because my own weirdness, but he put it up. And then a few days later, there were candles sitting on our, right next to this thing on our mantle. They were shut off. There was no fire coming on them. All of a sudden he looks and he's like, oh, did you just turn? And he was talking to me. So I don't know how he could, but he was trying to be rational. He's a Virgo. He's like, did you just like light the candles? I'm like, no, I've been talking to you this whole time. He's like, those were not on. And I was like, well, okay. So they turned they lit up right in front of
Just another
mirror.
Tuesday at Denise's house.
Right.
Some of the stories you tell, I swear.
I know they're crazy. I know.
I'm surprised.
I mean, these are just little things that are not that big a deal. One time we were in an antique store, the same antique store he bought a bunch of stuff from. And I was like, oh, let me see that ring. I put the ring on and I was like, I felt like my hand was on fire. It was so haunted and crazy energy. And I was like, God. And after that, I never bought another used piece of clothing or anything. I was like, no, this is really not good. But I had a clock that was haunted by me, I think, because there was this broken clock in our house, and Uri Geller was on television. I told you that story, right? Okay, well, Uri Geller was on TV and he was saying, all you have to do is go work with a broken clock. I didn't realize it didn't have batteries in it at the time, and that it wasn't. So anyway, I did it. It started working, and I was like, oh my God, it actually worked. And then I was like, it worked for a long time. I looked at it and I opened it up and I realized there are no batteries in this thing. How is this thing
Kind of
working?
like Al's radio. Wow.
Yeah. It was very weird. I mean, eventually it died
that's
out.
Crazy.
But I think it was just like the energy and kind of believing in his kind of something he was doing. I don't know. I mean, I don't blame it on me. I think he was somehow channeling people's energy to do that, because I mean, I don't think I can normally just start a clock I did start a car one time by myself.
Yeah.
One time. But
Is the reverse true?
what do you mean?
So you can, you meaning a disincarnate soul can attach itself to an object. Can a living person make the object die or break? because I can't keep
Yes.
everything working in my
Yes,
house.
totally. Well, like,
Lights, music.
yes, absolutely. That's a really common thing with people who are psychic is, and this is another thing. If I'm really worked up or upset and I flip a switch, the light bulb will explode. And my husband will turn to me and go, Denise. I'm like, what the fuck? You're blaming me for this. You don't know that was me, you know?
Once a really long time ago, my husband and I were just first together, and we were, you know how you have those intense conversations. You're not mad, but they're just emotional. And we were sitting on the floor talking with each other, and there was a crystal ashtray, and it just exploded.
Yep.
And he looked at me.
Yes.
I think he seriously thought about maybe dating more other people.
He probably thought it was you. I mean, enough things like that happen and you start to get blamed for them. But yeah, you can definitely affect objects. It's not conscious. I think there's there's kind of a theory that people that are receivers have latent psi ability, meaning like telekinetic energy.
Yeah.
And people that are telekinetic have latent receptive abilities.
Yeah, he calls it my negative energy field.
That's true, though. I mean, I've never could wear a watch. You probably couldn't either. They break within a few. It doesn't matter what kind of watch.
Yeah,
I could never wear it. Yeah.
Now, Bo, have you had any haunted things that you've experienced? Haunted objects?
Of course not.
I think
I'm so mundane.
No, you're not.
No, we had an experience. Remember when I came to visit you one time and then all the lights started going dimming and almost blacking out and crap started happening?
Oh, those things, they transpired over the course of high school. And, a little bit of this here, a little bit of weirdness there. But I could never pull it together to say, is this something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Poltergeist, right?
Yeah.
Well, poltergeists are actually most common in teenage girls. That's the most common time thing that happens with teenage girls.
You're all in a dither, yeah.
Well, it's like when you're going through adolescence, like I guess, or something. Especially if you're in a home that's where you're having problems with your family, it's really common for the unconscious mind of the teenage girl to manifest. That's what the studies have shown. There's almost
Wolf had enough with that 7-headed clown that she had to grow up.
There's a photograph of it. I will find it.
Oh my God, that sounds so crazy, that thing.
Yeah.
I can't believe your mom had that. That's like a nightmare.
My mother liked the clowns and my father bought the art.
Right.
So it was a combination of their weirdness. As am I.
My mother-in-law collected clown paintings. That's all you need to know about her.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Sounds creepy out.
I don't know that I've ever had haunted objects per se, but when they're antiques make me real tired. I don't know what that is. I just get really tired around a whole bunch of heavy activity. And so I just don't like having them around. It's just, but they don't like my weird manifestations are always through phones and computers.
Yeah, same. I love that too. Yeah,
so mine is way more like an electronic.
We've heard.
You know what? I had this brand new Apple laptop, and I was blogging at the time on Astrology and Psychic Prediction was my blog. And it was pretty well known. And I saw this news story about this high voltage syndrome. Yeah. Light interference. Yeah. I've heard of that too. Yeah. I've had that happen. And anyway. There was this, and all of a sudden I just started getting information about this case with this, that was really like a brief story on the news, which sometimes happens. But what ended up happening is the young woman that had been murdered started messing, like she wanted me to help her. And so I was kind of resisting it because I don't really want to get involved in a murder case kind of thing, but she was relentless. And she actually started messing with my computer to the point where she broke my computer completely. I had to buy a new computer. So anyway, I put it out on my blog. Hey, she's around and she wants, she has things to say, and she gave me all kinds of information. And so as anybody knows this girl or has some access to her family, I would like to let them know what's going on and what she wants to tell them. So some of her friends weirdly read my blog. So that may be why she picked me. I don't know. And so they called me. I gave, they corresponded with me. I got their phone numbers. They started telling me all these crazy theories. I'm like, no, none of this is right. And anyway, I got connected to her family, and her dad, who was very skeptical. He was like a retired police officer, and she was actually in training to be a police officer. And her cousin was a firefighter. And so I went down to this area of LA where they lived and where the crime had happened. And he came with me. I told him to bring something of hers, and I walked. It was the weirdest experience. I learned a lot about how things worked with a psychic thing, especially with something like that. But it was like I followed every move that she made, and the firefighter was like, yep, that's right. And then, she did this and she did that. And then this is what happened. And that was what happened. We found a piece of evidence, and I told them, from what she was telling me, this was a stranger. She had been really upset. I don't go into all the details of it, but what ended up happening was she was so distraught because this guy had stood her up and her friends didn't help her. And she was crying, and she was trying to get into this other bar, which was like over a mile away that she had walked. And we walked her whole thing. And they wouldn't open the door for her. That this stranger came up and saw how distraught she was. And she, against her better judgment, got into the car with them. And there was a little tiny piece of evidence that was right where the car had been. And I'm like, the guy lives right down there. And I'm like, and they're going to find his car. There's a piece of evidence in it, and he's going to be convicted. And within a couple months, he resold that car. And for some weird reason, the guy that bought it was totally cleaned out, found a tiny bloody toe ring in the car and turned it into the cops. And that's how he got found.
Wow.
It was wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. Yeah. But it was a lot like kind of the thing that was the most enlightening about it was like kind of picking up like a dog with a trail, kind of, if that makes sense. Like being a hound dog.
Well, exactly. That's what it is. Yeah.
A psychic trail. And the whole time it was like following the trail. It was the weirdest. It was a weird experience, but
her, conversely, her spirit may have been doing the same thing, to even go into your computer like that and mess with
it. Totally broke my computer. Yeah, she was trying to get my attention. Yeah.
That would have pissed me off. That would have made me really
I wasn't real happy about it. It was an expensive computer.
You're getting brownie points in heaven. So
I mean, she didn't need to break it, but it was like she was messing with it so much. There was constantly shit happening on the computer that it fried out. It was a bit, but she was pissed off. She wanted the guy to be caught.
And was he a potential serial killer, or was this a one-off? Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Prevent any more killing,
I'm sure I felt like the guy was going to rape her, and she had a medical condition. And I think she fought back. And I think because of the combination of the medical condition and the struggle, she died kind of accidentally. So I don't think he intended to murder her. And I think he freaked out after. It was going to be just a sexual assault, and it turned into something else. Yeah.
You just reminded me of something. I had years ago opened the world's first self-published only bookstore. It's like when I see things and know they're going to happen, they're like 20, 25 years ahead of time. And so it's like, I better do this. And Bove actually would come by and help there.
Oh.
And this woman kind of, but there was a strange woman that came and wanted to help out at the store. I won't go too much. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about who she is. But anyway, there was just something odd about her, but I have this problem where if I pick up like bad things about people, it's like, oh, you're so judgmental. You know what I mean? I'd like
Oh,
get on
That's a really
myself
common,
about it.
yeah,
yeah.
that's a
And
Virgo. Yeah, I don't feel guilty about it myself.
so anyway, there were people of all people, Rupert Murdoch wanted to invest in. I talked to him. He wanted to invest in what
Wow.
I was doing because he knew how far-sighted it was. Now
Yeah.
look at
Right.
Amazon, everything, you know.
Right.
And so
What
she
period of
was
time was
like,
that? The 90s? Was it in the 90s that this
yeah,
happened?
yeah,
Early 90s or
yeah, yeah,
Mid to late.
middle to
yeah.
late?
It
Okay.
started early '90s,
Right.
and it went for a while. And so, in any event, she was sniffing money because she figured, man, this is going to be worth, because I was going to open a chain store of self-published books. I started a newspaper. The internet wasn't around back then,
Right. Right. It
but
was
I knew
very
it would be. So it was like
right.
that too. I could see.
Right.
Anyway, just kind of fast forward for a bit. So this woman gave me this leather jacket, and it was real nice. It was like like those bomber jackets, like
Yes.
if you're a pilot. It was really,
Right.
really nice. And I liked wearing it, but I felt kind of weird about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was
Yeah.
just something odd. So anyway, then I get, of all things that happens, FBI, some other kind of major agency, and they're high up because the cards are bigger and the men are taller. I mean, they came into the store, scared the crap out of me. And they're
What?
like, "Do you know who this woman is?" And then and I said, "Yeah, she comes in here. I didn't really know her before, but she seems nice." And I didn't want to say anything bad. And they
Right.
noticed that I always served coffee in the store. And they said, "Can we have one of these cups? I noticed you haven't washed them yet. Can we have one for the DNA?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Do you have anything else that this woman may have given you?"
And it was a
And I
jacket.
said, "This jacket."
Mm.
So anyway, I called my attorneys because I was kind of like, "Oh my God," and at first they didn't
Right.
believe me. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere, and you've got all these federal agencies coming in.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
And so in any event, they did get back with me. And it
Mm-hmm.
turned out, they asked a bunch of questions like, does she have bronchitis at certain times of the year? Does she have this? Anything you can think of about her character, what she does. And
Hmm.
so I did. I brought up the bronchitis thing. You're just like going through your mind, like, okay, what can I remember? What can I tell them?
Right. Sure.
Well, it turned out, according to them, that this woman was wanted. She would find young women that were starting very promising businesses and try to get in the door and even get a percentage of the business and then kill them.
Oh my
And
God.
Oh my God.
so that she could have the business. And so,
Wow.
so
Creepy,
anyway, that coat is what, and so that jacket came from
A
a
victim?
young woman that actually looked a lot like me, about the same age, that was
Oh my
starting
God.
some kind of thing that they thought that she was connected to her murder.
Oh my God. That is unbelievable.
And there were so many things that were going on with that, to start to break into, like self-publishing and to get people's knowledge and word out. I mean, I had so many weird things happening, people, weirdos, people trying to blow up my car and shoot me. I mean, I had so many weird things that happened. I
It
mean,
was a
both can attest
scary
to it.
time. It was a very
Why
scary
do you think
time.
that was?
Yeah, what was happening? Why was that
Why
happening?
was that attracting such? Was it?
I just
It
thought
was
it was
something new.
her.
Yeah, but there's also, different elements. They, for a long time, knowledge was suppressed. And so when you give people a voice, there are different functions, whether they're official or not, that want you to stop saying these types of things,
Right.
and getting, and allowing people to get that word out. And I had some very interesting self-published books that were coming through because I was the first one doing it in the
Right.
world. I had the world's first.
Right.
And so,
It was really cool. I was
Yeah.
proud of you. Sorry.
Oh, and you would help do the newspaper. She could attest it. I had newspapers printed where I had author interviews, and I had it. It went all around the world. So it was like before there was an internet. I was doing it through a newspaper, and then I started having writers' conferences and very interesting people coming and speaking, and both helped
Right.
at these writers, and they were very entertaining and not like a normal writers' conference at all.
Right.
Because
Right.
I wanted it like cool stuff. If you want to write like a murder mystery, well, why have another writer tell you how to do it? I got people from the hospital on, okay, this is what you can do to kill somebody.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
I had
right.
really wild, crazy, and I had attorneys there that just loved it. And everybody was just like, we've never seen anything quite like that. And that's kind of where I want to go with the Cosmic Fold and this rural stuff, because I see different ways that we can all communicate and get things out there, but it's scary sometimes to do it. That's why, Denise, I
Right.
admire you so much, because I think you're kind of a trailblazer yourself.
Mhm.
And it's but when you do those things, and you always need a good friend, and Bove has been with me through a lot of weird things, and she just takes it in stride, kind
I
of like
know. She probably doesn't
kind of like
remember half the weird stuff because she just goes, "Ah."
she does remember that one, because that was pretty traumatic.
That sounds scary. That
It
sounds
was.
scary.
The
Can I
Yeah.
writers'
ask you something
conferences were
about
very eclectic.
the
There
writers?
was an eclectic group of people. I mean, there was, wow, Deborah, we've got history.
Yeah.
My friends, when I make a friend, they're friends for life. So that's how
Yeah,
it is.
me too.
Deborah, can I ask you about the writers that you had come? Did you ever have a writer called J.A. Jance?
If there was, I wouldn't remember, because there were hundreds of people. Hundreds
Yeah,
of
that's
Okay,
a
people.
lot.
I
Yeah.
asked because I when you were talking, it brought my memory to a series of books I read a long time ago and I think, I'm not even sure if J.A. Jance is a man or a woman. I think it's a woman. Take place in Arizona, and
Oh,
it's a
they
young.
self-publish books?
No, I don't think so. This author is now a big deal,
Oh,
but
well,
had to
you know.
start somewhere.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
some of these, and then when I started the God discussion, so that I roped Al into to help host that, and we were the
Right.
very first people. I just had this like idea, because it was like all different religions. I even talked to the Raelians, the Westboro Baptist Church. I had a very interesting group. I would talk.
Well,
You know what? The
yeah.
Westboro Baptist Church people were very interesting to talk with. People judge them immediately without knowing their backstory. I go for the backstory, and
Right.
it was fascinating. And the Raelians were too. And so I did the very first show, Coming Out Atheist, because at that time you didn't say that word.
No.
And Richard Dawkins actually called me,
Ooh.
and he goes, "That is and I just hung up on him because I thought it was a prank. And he called back and he goes, "I love a good skeptic," And so then I also did I was the first one to do Scientology. And
Right,
so
right.
I had,
That was very
because the
bad.
major
will kill you.
networks that were doing it, they were sued and all of these other things.
You don't
Right.
want
So
to talk about them. I won't even.
No,
say
they're
that
really
word.
vicious, the
Yeah.
Oh,
Scientologists.
I'm not afraid of them anymore. And so what had happened
Right.
was, on this website I had, it
Like
was a
Boogie
Google
Ball
News
Note.
provider. So
Yeah.
I shouldn't be making this about me, but it is an interesting story. So
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I would cover like all these different religions and movements, and it was a Google News provider site. And so periodically I would write something about Scientology. And then I would always notice this gaggle of people would start commenting. And it was like, this is really kind of weird. And so then I'd get other comments, and they're like, "Oh, that's a sock puppet." And I had to look up what a sock puppet was, because I
What
didn't
is-
know what that was.
What is
They're
it?
basically people that like troll on the internet and comment and try to promote their cause.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
anyway, it turned into this big thing where it's like, well, I don't want you guys sock puppeting me. So,
Right.
I have my own servers. That's what I put my stuff on. And
Right.
so I had a way to track where all this was coming through with the IP. And so, this gaggle of sock puppets would come in, and I would say, "Oh, you're at such and such in Los Angeles right now." and it freaked them out. Well, that attracted, of course, the group Anonymous. Because it's like, oh my God, we've got a hacker dealing with Scientology. We love it. And it wasn't
Wow.
like I was doing anything special. It was just I had access to where they were. And then
Right.
I was using a mapping program to figure out where the IP was.
I don't even
Wow.
know what
And it was,
language you're speaking right now.
well, anyway, I was like freaking these people out. And then it
Well,
turned
because
out they
that's what they're
started.
that's their deal. They intimidate people
Yeah, they're
anonymously.
cowards.
Yeah, that's
Who
Well,
are
what
the
they
but
do.
biggest
the group Anonymous hates Scientology.
No, I
So
know,
I
I know,
was
I
their
know that.
hero.
I
Yeah.
know.
Oh, we're
Yeah,
not
right.
talking about that.
Anonymous, the group is good, but the Scientologists are known for their because they're a cult,
Right.
basically. If you try to break out of that, they will slash your tires, they'll follow people, intimidate people. There's a lot of stories in Hollywood
Oh,
about
yeah.
certain actors. I'm not going to say their names because I don't have any interest in trying to make them hurt them anyway. But there are several actors, really, really big Hollywood stars,
Are
who
into
are
it.
not just into it, but are into it probably because one of the things that they do early on, it's sort of like compromise. They make you do this thing where they call, I
Mhm.
can't remember the name of it, where you tell all of your secrets
Yes.
because you're
Yeah.
unloading. It's sort of like confessions,
Yeah.
and they tape record it. And there are a couple of actors that are known to be homosexual. They have relationships with men. And when they are coming up, that got
Talk
on their
about it.
confession tape. And that's not something at the time that they were coming up would have been acceptable.
No.
And so it would ruin their career. And they kept them pinned into this
Oh, yeah.
group through those kinds of things. Yeah.
So,
They're really dark.
anyway,
Yeah.
Anonymous, I'm not going to reveal. I know some of the people in the group Anonymous, and I know who they are and what they do.
Right.
But anyway,
They
I've
teach
been
classes
reviewing.
online on how to hack now. Did you know
They do
that?
what?
They teach classes on hacking.
Well,
They
the
do
ones
now.
I was in touch
Yeah.
with had some
Right.
strings. So
Right.
I was already doing a lot of book reviews for Simon and Schuster because I was like the only person out there that would actually read the book before interviewing the author.
Right.
And
beg
so
your pardon.
Anonymous, yeah, well, you do now, 20 years later. And so, but
Can't
anyway,
help it. I'm young.
but there was a book about Scientology, and oh yeah, they do. And
Yeah.
so
They're really bad.
anyway, I had her on. She was I was the first person to put this author on, just because I was already going through so much crap with him. I just thought I could do more, through this show. I tell you what, all the comments on that site, I think that's what got it, way up in the rankings. I mean, I had traffic like 100,000 visitors an hour. It was insane.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
yeah,
They were
when you
helping you
market
out. They didn't even know it.
yeah, so I need to market this like I did that stuff.
Who was
And
the author?
I can't remember right now. I'll have to find the book. But
Was he the guy
after
that was
that,
in-
the woman. And after that, the dam broke. I even had people that were in cells in Germany, like imprisoned by Scientology, calling.
What?
I mean, yes, we have.
Yeah, because they do. Yeah, they have secret
insane.
prisons too in Scientology.
Yeah.
They imprison people. Yeah.
So we cracked that too, and I hope to do the same thing with this show, that people
They
feel like
enslave
it's
people.
safe,
too.
that people can feel safe to talk about these experiences that they've had, because I think the time is ripe for people to talk about some of this stuff, because
Yeah.
as a species, I think we're changing. And my view
Some
on
of
it
us
is,
are. Some of us don't seem to be. Some of us seem to be getting worse. Some of us seem to be getting better.
I
It's like-
agree. I truly do agree. I'm taking that statement very seriously.
Yeah, it seems like there's the bad are getting worse and the good are getting
Yeah.
better. It's getting more extreme.
Do you know who Mehdi Hassan is?
Yeah.
I do.
oh
not.
yeah,
Okay, so I saw a thing last night. I stumble on these things in the middle of the night, and half the time I don't know what I'm watching. There's a YouTube show. I think it's a YouTube show where somebody sits in a circle of chairs, and this person is politically opposite of all the other people in the circle.
Oh
And
wow.
there's a
That's-
table in front of the center person, and people from the outer ring take turns challenging this central person to a debate. And it's
Okay.
usually liberals going after one conservative person. So he volunteered. He said, I guess he got a degree in debate from Oxford.
Well,
So he said, I'll take him on. So that's what I saw. And I didn't watch all of it. I just watched a couple of snippets of it. The thing I went away with in my understanding is that there's a generation of young men who are being radicalized to misogyny
that's right.
and
Called
racism
incels.
and
Yeah.
want fascism. This one kid sat down and said, well, yeah, I'm a fascist. Yeah, what's wrong with being called a Nazi? I'm a fascist, but you know, then 2 minutes later, but no, I wouldn't go along with that. I'm a good Catholic.
Yeah.
Really, Mehdi Hassan was shook. I mean, he held his own. That's not what I mean. He talked about it afterwards, and he said he was horrified. You know.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, that's been going on for a while. The incel thing.
It
Yeah.
has exploded.
Yeah,
It's really bad. Yeah.
it is bad, and it's made worse by the political landscape that we're in right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's get into a few dolls here.
I gotta go.
Ready?
My sciatica.
Can a doll be
If
possessed by?
anyone wants to read some of this, you can. But here's the first one that not too many people have heard of: the haunted doll
Okay.
of Pretoria. And
Pretoria.
this one comes from let's see, when was this? December 23, 1962.
Right.
And so this
Uh-oh.
girl,
She's breaking up on
she
me.
was 17. She was
Yeah.
named Hester. And she had this 4-foot high doll. There goes my internet. Okay, I'm back again. Well, Brighton
Yep.
was having trouble too on the other. We all have been out here. So anyway, she died from a pneumonia when she was 17. And so her younger sister Joan takes this doll and names it after the sister that died and just adored this doll. Well, pretty soon the whole family starts freaking out because the doll appears to start moving and trying to talk, and they'd lay it down and it would try to sit up.
Wow.
And so this family is like completely freaking out about this. And so they call, the church, and they call paranormal experts because they wanted to burn it, but they didn't know, what would you do? I mean, is that a good thing? And the experts said, no, don't burn it.
Why not?
Because it doesn't go away. You just make it in the whole environment. You just
Wouldn't you
make
give
it
it
worse.
to the earth? Wouldn't you bury it? Give it to the earth?
You have to contain it. That's the only way you can deal with
Yeah.
it. Anyway.
So
Well, yeah.
anyway, that's why I do this, so we could spur discussion on what do you do if you have that. So, like one of the experts at that time in 1962, his name was Dr. John Pritchard. He studied it. He saw there was no logical explanation. Then a priest and psychology professor, he said that he thinks that these intense emotional bonds. So the older sister had died,
Right.
and then the
Right.
younger sister was probably pulling something in to this doll that she named after her older dead sister.
Right.
And
Right.
whether it was the sister spirit or a poltergeist or some other kind of thing that she may have pulled in, that was what was in the doll. And
Right.
he said, we don't know what it is. Catholics, of course, they're going to believe it's demonic, but nobody really knew what it was. So what they did, they put this doll in a room and covered it in a sheet and sealed the room. And so when this story was written in 1962, it had been already 10 or 20 years, and it was still sealed in this room.
Wow.
So because it was that crazy, and it was like a normal family that just had, this was just for you both. So this is how the story ended.
The beetle doll.
So of course a lot of people, even in the church, are saying, oh, that's not real, that's stupid, whatever. And so how the article ends, it says, "And the haunted doll of Pretoria is not alone. In a French convent, a 3-year-old girl died suddenly while in the arms of her doll." Creepy enough. When the doll was examined, it was found to contain a hollow cavity into which had passed a live beetle that had laid its eggs.
Oh my God.
A priest who had attended the child's deathbed said that the doll emitted low moans for many hours. His claim, of course, was ridiculed. But weeks later, when they went to like smash up the doll and burn it, its head jerked backwards and a stream of beetles rushed out.
Wow. Wow.
but you know what I was thinking about that was where's my thing here? So what I was thinking about that was I knew this Native American guy who was like always getting sick and almost dying. And it was like every time he got in his car, this would happen. And it turned out that some black widows had gotten in there and laid babies, and
Oh, wow.
they were kept biting him all the time. And he was getting poisoned by this stuff. And
Oh,
so from
wow.
that doll story, I'm thinking, okay, if they had cracks and stuff, maybe it was like some kind of spider or some
Yeah, I
kind of
think
thing
Yeah.
that went in there
That
and
dark-
killed her.
the dark area.
Yeah, right. That very much could be the
Yeah.
case. That might have a natural
anyway.
explanation. Yeah. Yeah.
That was that story.
Annabelle.
So
yeah.
here's the famous, I'm just going to flick through these because we know about that.
We don't even
But the
wanna
guy
look
that,
at that thing.
I loved
and
Raggedy
then
Ann.
there's Bob's. Did you?
Oh, I had a
And
bunch
then
of them.
I hate
that's
Robert.
the famous
Robert
Robert.
is really weird looking. Yeah.
Robert has some pretty serious Botox going on. Yeah.
He's
Oh,
I
that's
never
a
heard
pretty
it.
doll.
it
Have
is.
you ever heard of this story?
No.
Okiku, or however.
No.
Okay, now I don't know how to speak
No.
Japanese. So this is from Japanese folklore. In 1918, a teenager named, I'm not going to say his first name, Suzuki, purchased a large doll from Hokkaido for his younger sister, Okiku, who gave the doll her name. And then when the sister died, her family came to believe that her spirit was inhabiting this doll because the hair on the doll started growing.
Wow.
And so it's in a Buddhist temple in Japan,
Wow.
and a priest still regularly trims its hair.
Wow.
That was an obscure one. I'd never heard of
That's
this.
not what the doll
Wow.
really looks like. That's an AI.
No, that's
image.
AI. Yes.
Yeah.
right. Pretty doll. Yeah.
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 Because a
It's
lot
not
of
real.
these, they aren't pictures, and I don't believe in
Right.
stealing people's content, so I'll just use AI to get around
Right.
way with it. But anyway, I thought that was an odd and interesting one.
That is
Kind
odd.
of a cool one.
Yeah.
This one is, in all these old newspaper accounts, they're talking about, how dolls long time ago used to be used to ward off evil, like in medieval times and all that kind of thing. And then, of course, we've always heard of the ones that
Puppets.
voodoo dolls.
Yeah.
So this one, it was in New Mexico in 1944. The Candelaria family actually is very wealthy, and a lot of people don't know that Native Americans were held as slaves.
Wow.
And the Candelarias, I had heard rumor that some of them did hold Native American slaves and whatever, but the ones that came here weren't so much. And the ones like in Arizona, they were big sheep herders, very, very wealthy. I've done work with some of the Candelarias. So, of course, when I see that name, it's like, oh, I got to see what this was. So this happened in New Mexico, 1944. An elderly man named Ignacio Candelaria claimed he was cursed by his wife, Josefa, who practiced witchcraft. According to him, she made a doll in his image, stuck it with pins, and wrapped it in a red cloth meant to bring death. Ignacio said the pain and fear became unbearable. And the locals, of course, backed up his story. Some even claimed to have seen Josefa using hexes and chanting spells. So he was terrified that he was dying from some kind of curse. So Ignacio killed his wife and said it was self-defense, burned the doll, and hoped the spell would break. Well, of course, then he goes to court for murder.
Of course.
And the judge and the jury is in a tizzy because it's like, how do we handle this?
And how do you know?
Because-
Yeah. Right. That's
Right,
true.
because was
Right.
it murder or was it true madness? Because whether the hex thing worked or not, if you see your wife like trying to kill you all the time by doing that, I think it would get to you after a while. And so,
Yeah.
and so they brought in some experts that said that belief in witchcraft, like that negative kind, could be so strong that it will cause a physical or mental breakdown. And
Uh-huh.
so he ended, instead of going to jail, they put him in an institution.
Right.
So
Well,
that
that
was
makes
but I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Denise? Because I think about
witchcraft.
like how like how it can affect people, or I mean, do you
Yeah.
think it?
I
If
think
people
it's, you know,
believe
I think
that,
that, yeah, I think that if you have, so I was going to write about this on my next Substack piece, but so I was in this coven, and when we left, the high priestess started doing black magic with the coven against me and my friend that left. And I was like, my friend was like freaking out because her sister had done this black magic on her other sister and caused all these horrible things to happen. And she just started getting really worked up about it. And I was like, I'm not worried about it. It's like, there's no buy-in on my part. Like, I just don't believe they have the power to do that. And that, I think, what happened was there was some weird things that happened. There was probably a period where I was really felt really stressed out and had all kinds of I felt like I was kind of losing my mind for a very short period of time. And I think it was the black magic, but eventually it kind of just dissipated, because I mean, I was like, I feel like I'm stronger than that. But I think I've heard other stories about it, where there was one guy I was working with as a psychic who was married to a woman who was doing spells on him. She was doing this weird spell where, this is gross, I don't want to go into the details of it, but anyway, she was putting spells on him to get him to stay with her forever, to never fall in love with another woman was the thing. So she thought that was going to keep him with her. Well, their marriage broke up and he turned homosexual, and he said he blamed it on the spell, because he said he'd never felt that way, but he left her and they started dating men. Now, I think it's kind of one of those things where if you really, really believe it, it has more power. If you don't believe it, it has less power. It may affect you for a short period of time. Like, I've heard other stories about people putting love spells on people, and eventually it dissipates, especially if the person is not a believer. It will work for a period, but then it kind of just dissolves if you don't have buy-in to it, if that makes sense.
Yep. So you're in line with what the court found. Like, if you believe that, it can contribute, and I guess if you see somebody doing that all the time. There's one in here I put in specifically for Helen. I don't know if we're there yet. Oh, yes, this is the one. Okay, Helen, remember when you were showing those dolls last time on your cell phone that looked very realistic, like babies and stuff?
Yeah.
All right, this one I got to research more so I can get the backstory and turn it into a video, because this one's insane.
Okay.
So it's not like a ghost doll or anything, but this was reported in the San Francisco Chronicle on December 3, 1922. In the 1920s, a strange trend was sweeping through American women, especially amongst wealthy and fashionable circles. And so what it was grown women were all starting to carry around dolls. They would dress them up, take them to parties, and even treat them like real children, just like your thing you were showing, Helen.
With those babies.
Yeah.
Right.
Some women owned dozens of dolls, while others became, let me see if I can see that, became deeply attached to just one. High-end department stores even began offering doll hospitals, where people could take in and bring their dolls if they were broken and get them fixed. It was a full-blown fad, but psychologists were beginning to worry if something more serious was going on. The most dramatic case came from Indiana, where two women ended up in a murder trial involving a lifelike doll. Both claimed ownership and treated it like a living twin.
Wow.
One woman said that losing the doll was like losing the reason, to live. It was causing her to suffer. Doctors who examined the case believed this obsession was a sign of some kind of emotional immaturity, women trying to relive a childhood they missed or make up for a baby they never had. They
Right.
warned that in some cases the fantasy could become so real that it would turn into a dangerous mania.
Yeah.
Behind them, so basically, the news article warned behind the fancy dresses and painted faces, something deeper is going on. If
Oh,
they're
that makes
carrying around dolls, But I just thought that was so strange to see that because I'd never heard of that before until you
Yeah.
showed those. I never heard of this, and
Well,
then
I
an
have the
article
cure. I
from
have the
shows
cure
up.
for it.
Have
I
a real
think
baby.
we should put him in a kind of an inadequate 1-bedroom apartment building with a 2-year-old and a newborn for about 48 hours.
Yeah, that's
Never look at another doll again.
yeah, probably true.
But anyway, I'm going to dig deeper into this murder story because this paper didn't really get into it, but apparently it was like some big thing. So they were just commenting on the aftermath of what this was,
Wow.
just to see how much of this was going on. That's crazy. I had never heard of this until Helen. So thank
I
you,
heard
Helen.
about it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've heard about it too. Like it's been going on for a while, those lifelike dolls. There was some, I don't know where I saw it. At some point on some show, they showed these crazy lifelike dolls and how they're really expensive and really intricate.
Yeah.
They look really real. Yeah. It was a
The
long
part,
time.
the part
Crazy.
that
Went on for a
in
while.
my mind was them taking the dolls to the emergency room and insisting the doctors resuscitate them.
Right. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wackadoodle.
Yeah.
This is just an advertisement. I just thought it was hilarious from 1961. The dolls
I had
that were around then.
doll.
Chatty
Yeah.
Catty,
I had
Kathy, yeah.
Matty Boy, Casper the Talking Ghost Doll that you could get for $5.99. The thing I would have been more interested in was the Monopoly game that was sold for $2.17.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You know what you call that game? Monotony.
And oh, it's an education
Monotony?
in capitalism, actually.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and chess, those were the ones I really
The woman
liked.
who came up with that did it as right, to explain why we ended up in a depression. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So this one, these are mostly from the same newspaper. It's from an Australian newspaper. I just wanted to show how common this stuff is. And the shrinking Violet, is that a doll?
I didn't know. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Oh. Oh.
Just how common this type of thing is from all cultures. So, one of the stories was a haunted chair in like an army base, and this guy would, he died, but they could still hear the chair moving around when he would come in and leave for lunch and all that kind of stuff. This is a lacquer. Is that how you say it? Cabinet.
Lacquer, yeah.
And so anyway, this young couple, they get one of these cabinets, they bring it home, and all of a sudden they have a ghost running around their house.
Yes.
And it was glowing green, and it was bright. It would like light up the wall with a flash.
Wow. Not good. Yeah. You definitely want to get rid of the cabinet.
This is the possessed armchair. So these people get married, and somebody gives them as a wedding gift an old wooden armchair. He likes to sit in there, and pretty soon he turns into a drunk. He never used to be that way. And so they ended up getting a clairvoyant to see what was going on, and she tuned into the chair, kind of like you tune into things, Denise, and it turned out that the chair had belonged to a butcher who died from alcohol-related illness. So they got rid of the chair, and then he got sober again.
Wow.
And then this one is kind of like your story, Denise. They called it the Marblehead Mystery Clock. In a house in Marblehead, Massachusetts, back in 1924, an old clock without any working parts could be heard ticking and striking like a normal clock.
Wow.
And hadn't functioned in years, but it still would tick and gong and do whatever and people just examined it and they couldn't explain it, but it would do this. So
What's
I guess
going
that's.
on in Calgary that everything's
Oh, they
haunted?
just did a report on like world like hauntings, and I thought it was interesting. It was like in one article just how many different things.
Wow. How come it's so expensive? Most
So
haunted
I
dogs.
just wanted to.
Want to buy those things?
This
Why
is
would anybody buy
eBay.
them?
So
Why
of
would
course I
somebody?
get the price. Yeah, why would people do this? I just thought it was insane. So I wanted to just show it. People will pay
Is that $10,000?
$10,000.
Yeah.
$10,000
Why?
for a
That's
haunted doll. Oh, the very last one is totally insane. So I just
Wow.
wanted to show
Reborn.
this.
That's
stuff.
one of those
Now
reborn
for you
dolls.
guys.
That's one of those weird dolls, the reborn ones. Anyway, okay.
Haunted
evaporated milk.
evaporated milk.
What the heck?
A
This is-
$1 million antique original oil painting memento. Oh,
Memento
wow.
mori. It's a remembrance of death.
$1 million? I don't think anybody's going to pay that.
Me neither. Oh, you can
And
pick it up if
surprisingly,
you're.
the carnation milk. Can you believe that? It's on there for $50,000. So these were as of last night. And so I went in there and there were a bunch of people watching this.
What
I
happens
see
to
that.
the milk?
Yeah. Did anybody buy it though?
I don't know.
No.
I didn't have time to check it this morning. So
Yeah.
anyway, that
Insane.
was just like an over
Why would anybody want to buy a haunted thing? That's
I don't know. Isn't that odd?
Amazing boy
I just thought
exorcism.
I'd throw it in there just to who's
know
They
what?
don't know
I
what
just
they're.
thinking,
They don't know what they're
somebody goes,
doing. They're
Devil,
wanting
get
to.
out of here.
That's it, Denise. These people do not know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're finding these items. They're thinking they may be able to prank or harm someone with
Right.
them. And the damage that can be done is
Bad
astronomical.
Yeah. It's really messed up. It's very messed up.
But what happens with? How do you know that a can of milk is haunted? I'm stuck.
I don't know.
That's
That
why I
sounds.
thought it was hilarious. I thought it was
It
funny.
seems a bit odd.
But
I don't
then
know.
I was reading like some of them that were a little bit cheaper, like a Dybbuk box for like $2,000. I'm just thinking, and I thought the economy's bad. People aren't paying money for this
Well,
crap,
it's bad for normal people, but it's great if you're rich, if you're really
Yeah.
wealthy.
And so anyway, I looked at this one account, and she like does like. I'm thinking, what a horrible job to have.
Deborah, can you
To
hear
do
me?
this, to make a living. So
I can.
she makes like these.
Ellen.
She's well. I'm Deborah's going dark on us.
I think I'm back. It's internet problems.
Okay. So
Okay.
what did you say? We missed all of what you
It,
said.
yeah. Am I back?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's good. Yeah.
So anyway, I looked up one of these accounts. I'm back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I looked up one of these accounts, and this lady, that's all she does is like it chant and bring in like negative spirits and puts them in Dybbuk boxes,
Oh, why?
and then
would
puts them on eBay, and these people buy it. And I mean, she has like this 100% rating, and all these people buy this crap. And I'm just
She's gonna
thinking,
go to
and she
hell.
just
That's horrible. Why would
goes
somebody
into
do that?
these things, creating this
That's-
All the damage.
negativity.
Why would somebody do that? That's really psychotic.
Yeah.
That's really psychotic.
Exactly.
So now Deborah is frozen
Would you
again.
want that? Why would you sell it? Can you imagine doing that all day?
I can't
Awful.
imagine doing that ever. Yeah, for not one time. That's insane.
Bad juju, bad karma.
Yeah, it's way bad karma. And also,
Yeah.
why would you do that? Like, why would anybody want that?
Psychopathic.
What's the
Yeah.
point of it? Like, so you
You
can
know what?
have a little thing in your house and
Power.
let it drive you crazy?
I'm go-
Power.
Harm and fear.
I guess so. Wow, that's sad. Oh, there she goes.
Deborah's
Now
having an existential
Out.
crisis over there in the corner. The host has absconded. What are we going to do?
Oh, that's really nutty, though. I mean,
Our
Oh,
fearless
thank
leader.
So are they-
has returned.
are they demonic? Is she doing like demon kind of like stuff, or is it just? Is she calling demons and putting and capturing them in those Dybbuk boxes,
I
Deborah?
think she implied it was were for bad
They're
intentions.
bad, but are
And
they
when you're
demonics? Demons? Deborah? She's frozen again.
She's frozen. But if you're putting
I
bad
am
intention
reconnecting, she
into
said.
it, it's already not good, I mean,
Right. But a demonic spirit, putting a demonic spirit in a box is really insane. And I mean, I don't even really, I mean, there, that's calling a demon and putting it in a box is seems really insane. And are they demonic energies? Is she like calling down demons or calling forth demons and putting them in boxes? What's the point of that? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
how long has she been doing that?
I
Does
don't
it
know.
say
And then there were other ones that do that to dolls.
what the fuck?
I didn't go that deep into it as it was. I was up till 3 putting this
Why would
together, but it
someone
was
do
just
it's
like
psychopathic. You know, why
crazy.
would somebody kill a random stranger? Why would somebody
Yeah.
torture a person they work with, torture them psychologically for the fun and games of
Well,
it?
you know
Because
what
they're not
happens when you
right.
do black magic? If you do black magic, your penalty is insanity. So, and it happens relatively quickly. Isn't that the whole point of the debug? I don't know. I've never used her as a form of exorcism.
I've never heard of
It's
it.
close.
Yeah, but to capture it, that's weird. To call it
gimmick.
in,
Yeah.
but that's.
Backwards.
I mean, I could
Shouldn't
see
you get the
I
box
could
and-
see if there was a demonic energy or a really negative spirit in an environment and you capture it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
to call it in is really crazy. Like, why would somebody do
And
that?
then there was a whole market of people doing this to dolls too, trying to make them haunted, and like to pull in all this negative energy. And these people buy this stuff, and they've got like 100% ratings on eBay, and they've had sales. So
That's
it's like, what the
horrible.
hell? No wonder we're so messed up.
Yeah, no, I know.
Well, is it that big of a leap from telling lies and people watching as
Exactly.
you tell lies? It's,
Well, it makes you think. I mean, I guess people think, well, if I can make a buck, I'll make a buck.
Yeah.
that is exactly what matters to some people. It's very difficult. I have a really hard time understanding why that would not create a sense of guilt or maybe pause, make you think, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, and then other things that kind of crossed my mind, but I don't know that they would do that much of it. But some of these YouTube like ghost hunter shows, which I think are fake. I think they're fake.
A lot of
them.
Most
Yeah.
of them.
Like fake psychics, fake, YouTube things, fake, all this kind of stuff, that they use these like supposedly haunted. They probably do have negative energies with them, and they use it as props for their videos.
Oh, I hadn't
So
thought
they
of
get
that.
tons and tons of views. So I think that was one idea that came, but then another one, it was like, what? I mean, can you imagine spending that kind of money on that kind of,
No.
they're ugly.
Well, you're not asking the right question. Can you imagine having that kind of money?
Because they don't
Just
believe
start.
it and the things and beat them up
That's
straight.
a good point through deep burning.
Yeah.
But
That's
I don't know that people would buy the haunted object. Okay, so
or
what she
because
said-
or because they are skeptical and they don't believe in it, or they think it'll be really fun and thrilling. Just the same reason teenagers go into like haunted places and shouldn't be there.
Or they're
You know
like
what I mean?
Professor
You know what
Harold
they're doing.
Hill, and they're trying to con people, and
Right.
they think, okay,
Well, maybe-
let's get this person.
Yeah.
I think 3D is right on about some people buying haunted objects for some kind of proof. Especially because some of them there were like $35 or something like that. So I can see that if you wanted to. But to pay like $100,000 or $50,000 for this, that's crazy.
You got to
like
wonder
30,
about.
I could see that,
But you got to wonder if it's real, like if anybody would even buy it. Because I remember seeing I've seen books like on Amazon, like rare books that I would want to buy, and they're like books that I know you can buy somewhere else for half the price, but they're selling them for like $300, $400. You're like, actually, if I go to this website, I can just get them for $50.
Yeah, exactly.
And people put them up there, but nobody buys them. You know what I mean? It's just.
You want to know the most expensive book I've ever seen on eBay? And I went looking for it after I heard that it was on. That's my husband. The vegetables are cooked. So this book on eBay, $32 $1,000 up for auction. Shall I tell you what the book was?
Yeah.
The Joy of Sex.
Donald, no, you wish. Donald Barr, which is Bill Barr's father, was an amateur
Oh, that
science
one.
fiction writer.
Oh,
And
right.
His book, Teenage Sex Slaves on Mars.
That's it.
I
Teenage sex
saw
slaves.
that.
And he is the one who gave Jeffrey Epstein.
His
His
job,
right.
Dalton School.
Yeah.
That's right. It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
3D,
Wow.
some of your hardbacks on Amazon, used books like that. Are you an author or just like the same books you already have? I don't know if she's an author or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know
3D.
which one she means either. But
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to, in the beginning, hog up time with my stories about my life, but it was interesting.
No.
They're good.
You've
Oh,
had a
she's
very
got
interesting life, Deborah.
Yes. I've
Oh, so
16
she's had 16
hardback.
books at the market. Wow, good for you, 3D.
The kind that
Wow.
like you get a little warm and you have to.
Yeah, it sounds like you write. She wants to write romance novels, and I'm guessing. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
I used to work at a. It is fun. Yeah, I used to work at a library. Just really quick about the Harlequin romance. When I was right out of college, and there would be women who would come in with a stack, like literally like 40 or 50 Harlequin romance books. Put them on, and then.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I had to have a pen name so Grandma wouldn't put me on a prayer chain.
I don't blame you.
Lord Jesus' eyes. I got news for you.
And then they would take out like 30 or 40 books, and they would bring their kid to like the story time. And then the next week they come back with all the 30 books, and they take out another 30 books. I could not believe how some people consumed those books. They were just crazy. Like they're just one after like brain popcorn, like one after the next, after the next.
It's a huge
addictive.
market.
It is a
big
huge
argument.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just shows you how much people are in need of escape.
And also how much people want love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's love.
I think it's some kind of like romance readers are voracious. Yep. Scrib changed the submodel too.
I don't know what that means.
Scribd is a source you can read. Well, I go there to read legal documents, but they can have books up there and all kinds of things in Scribd.
Yeah, you can. Do they have like JPEGs on there? Scribd?
PDFs.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I've been on there. Yeah, sometimes there's rare stuff on there that you can't find anywhere else. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, Bov, what are your comments about the doll? See, it wasn't as scary. That beginning one, at the beginning video,
That was
it was like
creepy.
that was real creepy, and then I wasn't sure
It was
if
looking,
it was,
but it was
real
looking.
or not.
It was
Yeah.
moving. Yeah,
We went from two different ends of the spectrum. We started with dolls who we are assuming were naturally altered or possessed or whatever. And then we started talking about, just in the last few minutes, people taking and possessing and creating harm. And those are two very different things. And I very much believe in the Wiccan Reed, and you harm none, do what you will. I've got it tattooed on my wrist.
Yeah.
And
that's the rule everywhere.
Exactly. It's the rule of law, and how there is a massive population of people who think nothing of playing in these dark areas. They don't know what they can create, or if they do know what they can create and they're still out there creating it, stay the fuck away from me. Go.
Yeah. I have one good thing to say about that, though, is that people who mess with that, they don't usually live that long.
And I had a friend.
No, they really don't. No, I'm not. I don't do anything. It's just that bad things happen to them as their karma comes back, and they don't live very long. Yeah.
I had a friend who was a trucker, and he got very upset over a bad romance deal, and he created dark magic and cast a dark spell on this woman he had loved. It was 2 years later they found him belly up in a tub in a hotel room.
Yeah.
You know, he took his own life. It
That's
drove
right.
him crazy.
It
He
does drive you
played,
crazy. It drives people
yeah,
crazy. I mean,
yeah,
that's the penalty for doing black magic. You will lose your mind and you
yes.
won't be around that much long.
And
That
he's
is,
gone.
yeah, that
And
has
he
worked.
actually had his own light. His light was beautiful,
Yeah,
but
he
It's
was
sad, isn't it?
he fell into that spot. I've given myself shudders and shivers.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this is the law of the universe. Like whatever you put out good comes back to you twofold, I think. And if whatever you put out bad comes back to you threefold. So you
And
know,
if you have problems in this lifetime and that's your solution, you're making it logarithm thing worse for yourself, because
that's right.
you're going to end up reincarnating with that and what the new life presents. I mean,
Exactly.
oh my God.
Right. Yeah, it's a bad
People are
trap.
not doing the math.
You might not even reincarnate for a while if you do that.
That's
because you
horrible.
probably get stuck on the Bardo kind of place, the kind of in between for a while.
With me babysitting all the dead babies in limbo. Yeah, yeah, I know what I'm looking forward to.
But like the thing with the story in the beginning, like that doll that got haunted with the little girl, I think that creates it too. I don't know that there's negative karma with that when
No,
you're
it's
grieving
no,
or
that's
something. And
no.
but
No,
the thing is, but
that's
how
just
do you? But the thing is, I was going to ask you, Denise, does it create like a consciousness if it's something that's like making this doll like trying to talk and stuff? I mean,
well,
it's not the spirit of either one of them. I mean,
it's
what do you do?
well, I think it depends on the situation. So I think if there's a really intense emotional psychic bond with something, that creates like a poltergeist situation. So, and a poltergeist is basically energy that's created from a living person that kind of gets a mind of its own, and so that could attach to a doll, for example, and then it's just sort of like, what do you do with that? I don't, when you probably have to just contain it because it's not a rational acting thing. It's sort of like this emotional energy, and then sometimes probably I could imagine where a spirit might attach to a doll,
I
like a
was
dead
just going to say
person.
that. Yeah, it hasn't moved
And they
on.
would really kind of use that doll to kind of try to speak through it,
Right.
Yeah. I think that's mostly probably what happens with the dolls. Probably not demonic most of the
You
time.
can see that
Yeah, I
being
don't
common
think
when
that.
a young person
Yeah.
dies and is not really prepared for moving on and still
Right.
emotionally and psychically attached to the people that they love. And here's
Right.
this opportunity. And
Just like comments. I agree.
She was freaked
Projectile
out by
penny
the
doll.
doll that was that vomited out beetles.
Yeah, that's some weird
so
shit right there.
bad.
I think though back then, if it was wooden or something like that, you could get bugs in there or what.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
probably
yeah.
that's probably what happened.
That's
It's
what I
probably
think happened.
some kind of, or maybe it had black mold in it or something too, where the hole was, and
That's
A lot of
true.
those
Yeah.
dolls are made of wax, and there are insects that feed on that kind of thing. So
Right.
it's not,
yeah,
it's
who
really
knows?
not that
Gotten
sharp.
poisoned by it, but not knowing, and then yeah. I mean, it sounds like that's just a kind of a natural weird thing that happened with the doll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
But dolls,
but because it was in the seminary, they had to make it like, ooh.
well, probably scared them, and I would think people who are super religious, they're more superstitious too. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're more susceptible. Yeah.
Well, I think because also, especially in the sort of Abrahamic religions, there's a very stark thing, black and white. Everything's either demonic or it's angelic. It's not really like the way that things really are for
Not
the most part.
animistic or nature.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
things are usually more neutral than that. Things are not usually that extreme. There are extremes, but they're not real common. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
everything is like the Warrens, for example. You know,
Oh,
he was like
God.
everything was demonically possessed. It's like probably not. You know, probably not.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
they
that
had a good racket going, didn't they?
he sure
they
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I saw somebody, when I was doing the research, there was some comment where somebody was talking about that Annabelle. And she goes,
Yes.
"It's not haunted. It's just been Warrenized." And I
It's
thought
just been
that
Warrenized.
was so good,
Very
because
good.
they could take anything and just turn it into like, and then
Scary.
people believe this stuff and what have you.
Right.
But like these old newspaper stories, they weren't profiting off of that. I think those
No,
people were
no,
just kind of
no.
like,
These
this
are
is
real
like
things
some
that
weird
happen.
stuff that happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. The world is a weird place. Lots of really strange things happen. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we've hit an hour and a half. I just love talking with you guys. Sorry for
I
hogging
know.
up so much of
Fun.
the show in the beginning there. And
It's all.
If this
It's all
keeps
good.
up, Deborah, we should really schedule this earlier so we can actually get to sleep at night. Bob's gonna be sitting up all night.
but
Nap
actually,
time.
I think that how this all works, it's nothing. The only thing, I mean, if you fear something, yes, it can hurt you. But if you
Sure.
don't, it's not going to.
Well, I think that's so much of it too. Is the fear. Like for example, this is kind of fucked up. But when I was like 18, I dated this guy who was like 26 years old. I was my first year at Cal Arts or second year. I can't remember. I was young, and this guy was he was a slime ball, and I knew it. I had this, and I was psychic. I knew he was messing around with this other girl. Nobody told me, but I knew, and he knew I was really weird and creepy and like had all kinds of weird. He was really afraid of me, and so I went up to him and I go, I'm gonna put a hex on you. If you cheat on another woman, all these terrible things will happen to you. But as long as you're good and you're nice to women, nothing bad will happen to you. I was just fucking with him. I literally was just fucking with him, just to kind of like make a point, like be a good person, don't be a dipshit. I really didn't care about him. I really could give a shit less. But the entire time I was at Cal Arts, and he would follow me around trying to get me to remove the hex. I'm like, fucking. I was like,
Thank
come
you,
on, dude.
Teresa.
He assigned all of these bad things that his car didn't work one day. Oh, it's because of the hex. It's like it had nothing to do with anything. It was all his imagination. I didn't do anything to the guy. I was just fucking with him.
You
It was a
knew you were
joke.
safe
Yeah.
because if anything happened to you, you were coming back to haunt him, right?
You know what? I think, like I told him, I said he would come to me periodically when he'd find me in school and go, you just remove the hex. I'm like, why should I? As long as you're a good person, you're going to be fine. You don't have anything to worry about. I would just keep fucking with him. And he was just like so distraught over it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, dude.
That's hilarious. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Bratty
I
of me,
love it.
but yeah. Okay.
Hey,
I have
love
my
you
kids
alone.
in fear. I have my kids in total fear. I told them when I die, because there's this family tradition of dysfunction. Not in my family, but and I told them, when I die, if you guys fight, if that happens, I'm coming back to haunt each and every one of you. So they're like really careful to really get along well.
Shit. I'll haunt you while I'm alive. I don't need to be dead to haunt
They
you.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
y'all, this was really fun. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what the next show is going to be about, but I'm sure I'll think of something. And if you
Oh,
think of
yeah.
something along the way, tell me. And
Okay.
I have
If
an
something-
idea. I'm going to text it to you. It came to me just 5 minutes ago while we were talking.
excellent.
Yeah,
And one thing, has anyone been watching the Skinwalker Ranch?
Yes, I watch it.
Did you
Mhm.
notice when the laser went up and how they had a cube go in
Yes.
that laser that I thought,
I actually just watched. There's a series on MGM Plus, which because I got rid of HBO and I got that one instead. Called Beyond, and it has video. It has video footage from a flying, like one of the from the military of those cubes.
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy in those like circles with the There's
And
a
on
bunch of
Reddit, more and more people are talking about these cubes.
yeah.
But I thought it was really interesting that one showed up on the Skinwalker Ranch thing, that it disrupted
Right.
like one of their
Wow.
experiments.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and the Beyond Skinwalker Ranch had a really good thing about, I mean, in a way, I
Yeah,
like
like
that one better than the
I do
Skinwalker Ranch.
too. Yeah, I do too. It's
And
more interesting.
they did like 2 things on Mount Shasta. So now I'm kind of
Right.
like,
I saw
man, I
that.
want to go to Mount Shasta just to
Mount
experience that
Shasta's
energy.
creepy as fuck. Have you ever?
Is
You've
it?
never been there? Oh fuck
No, I've
yeah!
never
It's
been there.
super fucking creepy. Yeah.
So it's
super-
not like a good energy place
I
there.
didn't think so. No, I thought it was very creepy. Yeah.
What channel? Well, I mean, where are you seeing these skinwalkers?
I watch it on YouTube because
It's-
we
it's-
don't have cable. I'm so remote that we don't have cable and we do not have mail delivered to your house. You have to drive to the post office.
wow.
And we have no cameras. Like every time you go to, there's cameras everywhere. Look, no cameras and no street lights.
Wow. No streetlights. Wow.
One.
And so has
We don't
does
have
that
one,
lack of
not one.
security- Does the
Not
lack
at
of
the Circle
security mean
K?
You have a higher crime rate.
There's there's no street light there.
Oh wow.
Maybe it's just a Circle K so bright. It seems like it has a light.
Yeah, you
Because
might
once
think.
they're super bright.
Yeah.
And neon. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So-
crazy.
So that's where I get my stuff is YouTube and Netflix.
Right. Right.
I don't,
That makes sense.
because it's like that's unless you want to buy for all these services, and it's like I'm not paying $100 a month for entertainment that I don't have time to enjoy. So
Consume. Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, you guys saw my office in the beginning thing. I have a lot
Yes.
of paper. I am busy.
Oh god.
Buried in paper. Yes.
So
Yes, for sure.
well. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much. Thank you to Teresa and 3D
Yes.
Braining. I mean, I always smile when I see 3D Braining. She's
I
just,
know.
she has the best
Very funny.
comments.
They're
And
both so
Teresa, too.
faithful.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good people. So,
Yes.
and Bove, it's so good to see your friendly face.
Yeah.
again. That was
Yes,
nice.
it
Thank
is.
you. I'm planning on being a regular if y'all have me.
Hey, I have that pajamas that you're
definitely.
wearing. You have my
Oh, it's the Pussycats?
Thanks.
yes, I have that same one. That's so funny. That's
I
funny.
am dressed for the day.
Yeah. Those are comfy. That's a nightgown, right? Yes.
Yep.
I got
Oh,
that.
that's funny.
Oh,
All
shit.
right, y'all. I'm going to hit the end stream. So, thank you again. So good
All
to
right.
see
Bye,
all of
girls.
you. Thank you so much. I
Well,
appreciate
thank you, Deborah. It was
Bye.
fun.
And I
Lots of
love your
love.
glasses. I love your glasses. They're so
Aren't they
awesome.
cute? So cute.
She's our alien in-house alien.
You can pretend you don't know that.
You can pretend you don't
Night,
know
y'all.
that. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.